Hi there, Robin here from Xbra, and today we are going to replace the battery in this speaker. Now, there are a lot of speakers that have batteries built into it. This happens to be one from Acoustic, but it could have easily have been from Pyle or from Gemini or from Rockville or a whole list of companies. Now, they use just a regular rechargeable battery. It's not a lithium battery or anything like that. So it's, they wear out. Or a lot of the speakers don't have a built-in charger regulator, and there's a whole long story about these batteries basically getting what they call memory buildup in them because they're overcharged or they're not used enough. So very cheap, anywhere from $20 to $35 to buy a new battery. It's going to take us about 10 minutes to actually change it. So that's what today's video is going to be about. All right, so to make this project happen, you either need a number 2 Phillips screwdriver. You'll probably need a small little tiny screwdriver, a pair of pliers maybe, just to get the battery terminals off. I like to make my life easier, so I do have my drill to get that off for an impact driver. And we're going to make sure we have a battery. Now, the most commonly used batteries in these are the actual 12 volt, 7.5 amp hour, 20 run hours at that. Now that's depending on how much power consumption is going to be used, is where the actual 20 hours rating comes from. And you're going to need one of these. It looks like this. It's a sealed battery. No worries about it. It's important that you have a RU logo on it. It means that it's certified to go into a CSA or a UL certified product. So we're going to be taking screws out only around the outside rim. These are the screws that connect the amp plate to the plastic housing. So 10 screws later, let's get her done. All right, screws are off. Now we gotta kind of wiggle this thing out of here. Give it a good check first. We want to make sure we don't want to pull everything loose if possible. So we're going to take it out slowly, bring it around. Hopefully we can get just enough slack. And if not, we are going to try and stabilize this. So I got myself something so I can keep it up high and out of the way at the same time, like that. Hopefully it stays. If not, then we're going to have to hold it and manage. So what we have here, there's our battery. Battery is located right here, and of course we got our speaker. Now it's a good opportunity to see. I mean, there's an awful lot of electronics going on inside of here, so these things aren't made, for the cheap. So you've got your power supply, you've got your amp, you've got your, this would be your wireless control card in this case. This here is the controls for the EQ and all the preamp settings, and then you've got your digital display module up on top of the Bluetooth and everything like that in it. So not bad at all. So we got to get this battery out of here. There is a bar that's strung across the top of it, and there are normally 2 screws that hold it from end to end. There's a bar, so we got to get that out of there. So all I'm doing now is getting those 2 screws off. Now this particular speaker is a year old per se, and it was left plugged in for at least a good 3 months non-stop. This thing always has a trickle charge going on, and the battery just didn't like that, so now the battery has to get replaced. So normally speakers like this, if you can't turn the charger on and off, then you definitely don't want to leave it plugged in all the time. Right, getting the second screw out. Ta-da! I'm going to take this off. So this is the bar we're talking about right here. This holds the battery down in case you decide to lay down the speaker. So there we go. So now I do have to take 2 brackets off of the battery. So this happens to be loose enough that I can do that. And I want to take these 2 brackets off. Now, they don't want to come off sometimes easily, and that's the whole point. So I need to get something. Wash your fingers. So I tend to open up the gap a little bit on it. And then I'm going to close it back up with the pliers. This just gives me something quick and easy, a simple way to get her done. If the terminals are put upside down, they actually come off a lot easier. So just a little trick. If you put the spade facing downward, it tends to be easier. So now, before I forget, I am going to give this just a tiny little squeeze, because I do want that to lock back into place. I'm going to take my old battery, which is here, and I'm going to confirm it against my new battery, which is here. So same size that way, same size that way. Positive, negative terminals on top. Everything looks great. It's a good match. We'll put that aside. We're going to take our new battery. We're going to slip the black wire, which is the negative terminal, take off the little plastic caps. We're going to take the black one, slide on top of the black one, making sure that's our negative for sure. If it's loose, then squeeze it with the pliers. So this way you get a good tight fit off of it. Now I already did that before, so I know I'm going to be tight here, and I don't mind if I have to fiddle with it to get it on, because I do want it to be tight. I don't want it to fall off. All right, so I did have a little fuss getting that one on, but that's because I want it to be tight. So I got it on, no problem, made sure it was tight, slid the actual cover back on top of it. Now I'm going to hopefully have easier luck with the second terminal here. Just enough to get it started, because it just doesn't want to seem to dive underneath there. There we go. Good. On connection. Slide the plastic covers over it. Make sure everything is as safe as possible. Looking just like it did when we started. So now, there we go. Now the battery's got to go back in. So before I do that, I am going to turn the unit on. Make sure that my battery low light is off, which it is. So problem there, fixed. Battery's now going to come back. Work its way back into the speaker, just like that. No problem. Now we got to take the bar, put the bar back on. Don't forget to do that, because if not, you're going to have the speaker upside down or sideways on its back, and the battery's going to start bouncing around. Put those two screws back in there. Tighten that all down. Just snug. We don't want to over tighten it, because we don't want to strip anything, because, well, we can't go back there and, you know, fix that. It'll just be a big problem if something goes wrong in there. So snug, so this way nothing's going to shake loose. And there we go. That part is all done. So now we can take the amp plate and put it back on. Make sure we don't snag any wires. So I'm going to make sure my wires are up and down everywhere to make sure they're safe. Get this wire out of the way so it's in the right spot. There you go. Same thing there. Everything's happy. This should just simply be going back with no effort. I shouldn't have to force anything. This means I didn't pinch any of the wires. There we go. So now I can just start putting the screws back in the back. I'm just going to put the top one and the bottom one in first. Now do take note when you are taking the screws off. This one I happen to know that all the screws are exactly the same size. Make sure you don't have shorter screws at the bottom to protect the battery if need be. So just take note of that when you're taking them off. Or if you're not sure, put those 4 screws that are down here aside, so this way you know that's the right place to go, regardless of their length. So now that I have this back on, I can turn this on. Check the radio, see if that's going for us. That's the radio, so we know that's working. So we're good. So now we're just going to keep going. Turn this back off again, and we'll put all the screws back in, and then this job will be done. And there we go. Everything's back together. Now remember, the only wires I disconnected were the 2 off the actual battery terminal, which is, here's the old battery. And we're going to test this, make sure, figure out what's going on. If it's recyclable, then we're just going to recycle it, and that's all there is to it. Outside of that, if you're looking for links for this battery, we'll have links down for Amazon in the US and Amazon in Canada, and be able to get the battery there. There are lots of stores that sell them. And also take note, if your battery appears to have 2 little tiny holes pumped in it, I would recommend changing out the bottom screws, because that means those screws, the pointiness was long enough to touch the battery. I don't like that. So I may actually, in this case, now that I look at it, take these out again and replace them with somewhat shorter screws, just to be on the safe side. But that's it. We'll have, again, links for this down below. If you like this video or any other videos that we have, please always subscribe. If you got any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's it. This is a service video. And this doesn't apply just for the acoustic audio. Please note, this applies to any consumer portable rechargeable speaker out there that's going to have a battery inside of it. Remember, if you have warranty still on the product, definitely contact the manufacturer first to see if it is covered under warranty before servicing anything yourself. So this is an educational video. I hope you liked it, and we'll see you on the next one.